desperate attempt to try and keep voters in the party. They're saying the conditions that produced Barack Obama seem to be starting all over again. Oh no, please. I think I have to do another apology. I thought people were waking up, but no. I think the desperation and the fear of Donald Trump is what's causing people to lose their ability to think critically. And I'm going crazy here. I'm taking the crazy pills. I am. I'm taking the crazy pills because Democrats, voters, actually to be more precise, are yelling at Democrats at town halls. They're frustrated with the lack of fight from the Democrats. Well, to all you voters, this is how the Democrats operate. Have you not been paying attention to the 8 years under Obama? Then comes Trump. Then came Biden's years. So that's 4, 4, 4. So guess what? 16 years of inaction. 8 years of inaction under Obama. 4 years of doing fake resistance, ho-fest protests, glorified parades in front of Trump Tower under Trump's first term. Biden's sleepy 4 years. That's 16 years of inaction. 16 years in which the Democrats could have done something. A hell of a lot during Obama's first 2 years. And now everyone's screaming out. They don't know how to fight. They know how to collect money and make all of you be afraid. So shout out to Case Study QB. Hey, somehow he sits through this. He's made out of stronger stuff than me. Here we go. Enjoy. Because this is how people once again get led into the farm to be a loyal sheep to the DNC.
But where is the coordinated effort? Maybe it's Representative Jeffries or Senator Schumer. There's a great big hole in this donut. Yeah. With the party.
Well, there's a great big hole in this. Donuts have holes. That's a donut. I mean, I don't mean to be exclusive here, but donuts have holes in it, just like the Democrat Party. It's one big hole. It's empty, vacant. What you want is a solid loaf bread.
And I think it's why getting so hammered in the polls, the public opinion is so low of the party.
A great big hole in the donut. That was just one.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Great big hole in a donut. That's what a donut is, stupid. God, I hate MSNBC. I there's so many things I hate. And before anyone writes I better not see anyone write this in the comments section. Gee, Kit, hate's such a strong word. It is. This is violence.
One of the many frustrated constituents last night at Democratic Congressman Pat Ryan's town hall event in his Hudson Valley, New York district. That sense of frustration is palpable across the country as lawmakers face constituents concerned about everything from DOJ cuts to Trump's defiance of the courts and what Democrats will do to fight back. Joining us now, politics reporter covering President Trump and Wired contributor Jake LaHutte. Jake, there is a lot of anger surrounding Democratic leadership, the way that Schumer, even in his home state of New York, is being received for his handling of the funding fight. Where do you think this ultimately ends up going?
It probably ends up hashing out a lot of what may have been left as unfinished business from the 2020 primary. And clearly the generation.
Yes, there was. Because Biden was senile and the media was talking about it. Klobuchar, Amy, better get ready to dodge a wrench. You could dodge a ball, Klobuchar. You had Pete Buttigieg. You had Bet on My Stork. You had all these people, Bloomberg, all these people being propped up as the next big thing and fail miserably because clearly, there were a lot of progressives that wanted Bernie Sanders to be the nominee, but Bernie Sanders, being the nutless cuck that he was, just didn't have that dog in him. And every time somebody came up that wasn't Biden, they were promoted up, just like how Kamala Harris was too, all of them, and they failed miserably. And then on that Super Tuesday, Barack Obama made that phone call. Klobuchar and Buttigieg dropped out, supported Biden, and that was the end of Bernie. And then Bernie kept on calling Biden his good friend.
divide is huge here, both, I would add, among the actual lawmakers and within the party, and then also, I think, at the staff and at the voter level. And a lot of it just comes down to how do you present yourself in this new media system? How do you come across as quote unquote authentic? And clearly there's this big desire among the base for what they call a fighter, but I don't think anyone knows what that looks like right now.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because it was one of the questions that I asked voters last night, which is, how do you feel about what happened last week, but also what more could be done? I want to play a little bit more of the sound that I gathered last night, and we'll talk about what it could mean going forward. Watch. We're in New York. Chuck Schumer, of course, has been a senator here for a while. In that room, when he was brought up, people booed. That's not normal for Chuck Schumer in New York.
Not at all. I don't think what he did was likable, clearly. Was it the best move? I understand it, but we're bringing pillows to a knife fight, and nothing is helping.
Are Democrats doing enough?
So,
Pillow to a knife fight. Democrats haven't been bringing a pillow to a knife fight. Democrats have been bending over and spreading it like an eagle. That's what they've been doing. Same thing for Bernie. That's what they all been doing. It. I mean, I hate to put that image in your head, but the Democrats just don't know how to fight. When given a supermajority, when given all the advantages and all the ammunition and all the power, all the energy, all the figgy pudding, and they fail. They always have. That's how they operate. Wake up to reality. What's the excuse? Oh, we don't have enough progressive Democrats. Oh, we have a lot of blue dog Democrats. Vote harder, people. Vote harder. Oh, we need a little bit more to have a supermajority. Oh no, it's this non-elected official, the Senate parliamentarian, a non-elected official that answers to the president and vice president. The last time a Senate parliamentarian told a president no, they got fired. Notice how the Democrats keep coming up with excuses for why they don't want to fight? It's because they got the memo from Nancy. This better not affect my stocks. Nancy Pelosi.
Some are. I mean, let's be honest.
Question, right? Because what could be done?
So you see people in the street, and people in the street are mad. People on the street are passionate, and we're not seeing that from leadership at points. So there are leaders out there that are fighting that fight, and there are leaders out there that are that same old model of let's comply and complain. We should fight tooth and nail and let the people know that when we're fighting in the street, Congress has our back.
I think it's that last question there of what more could be done. Is it just that they need to solve for a strategy that doesn't seem cohesive right now?
Yeah, and I also wonder how much of it is almost tone and like the cadence of the delivery from the politicians. I was talking to a Democratic strategist who basically put it this way, that there's kind of a rattling off of statistics and figures and arguments the politicians do. Where it's like, and then I brought $30 million to the district and B and C. And people don't like that. They immediately tune out and stop listening when they hear politicians speak that way. Pete Buttigieg and AOC were mentioned as two models, Jasmine Crockett as well. But there does seem to be this conventional wisdom changing a little bit among Democratic consultants and people, in the comms field around, hey, before all this happened, maybe it wasn't a good idea to drop a new candidate or a challenger into the deep end of a town hall format, too open-ended, too many risks. Now, these folks are telling me, actually, we want to throw them right in that deep end and have them speaking off the cuff and just sounding like a normal person.
Yeah.
Listen, as someone who did a lot of interviews during the 2018 midterm election cycle and 2020 election cycle with progressives and independents who were with the Justice Democrats, brand new Congress, our revolution, all their stories were the same, how DNC was screwing them over. The DCCC, the DNC establishment, corporate media, and the various states were censoring and suppressing and stopping these campaigns. When I interviewed third parties such as Greens, Libertarians, Socialists, boy, did they have the same story too, but it was a little bit different. Both Democrat and Republicans at the state and federal level were doing everything they could to derail third parties from being on a debate stage, from being on the ballot. Happened in 2018, in 2020, 2022. And in 2024. And guess what's going to happen in 2026? Democrats changing? No. If they're not going to want to replace the leadership, then they're doomed for extinction. And I think voters need to realize, as much as you might want to scream from the rooftop, they're not going to listen to you.
Poll test as little as possible. And frankly, that's actually what the congressman in Poughkeepsie said last night. And he was fielding many of these questions. You could tell, and I've been to a few of these town halls now, the frustration is palpable, but it's not directed at their specific member, at least not in the cases that I've been in these Democratic districts. They're mad at the environment that they're operating within.
Yeah, and I was talking to Barnacle offset about this. It does remind me a little bit, even though I was a wee lad at the time, of the conditions that produced Barack Obama between 2004 and 2006. Yeah. And what was a hallmark of what energized Obama back then? It was this seething rage at the Democratic Party establishment.
No. What caused Obama was the aftermath of the 8 years of the Bush administration. Bush Jr., to be more precise. And Obama, being different and more charismatic than Hillary Clinton, was able to capitalize not only at the perfect timing, also with the beginning power of the internet, to really get his message out there. I remember that election cycle, 2008. So much I must warn a young Kit Cabello about, but nonetheless, that's what happened. That's what went down. And in turn, folks, the seething rage, any kind of criticism or hope, disappeared out the window as soon as Obama got into office in 2008. That's what happened.
Very similar to what got a lot of applause at Trump rallies early on, too, was railing against the current leadership of the party. Yeah. And I think
that's not what happened.
Someone out there is going to pick up on this at some point and run with it.
Well, they have to, right? Because this is the central question for the party right now. And I think what I'm seeing, and it's so fascinating, is there is a huge undercurrent of frustration and anger on the left, but there is also massively that on the right now.
And this is where I'm really curious as someone who covers a lot of the, Elon Trump Doge stuff is, what is that equal and opposite reaction, and what's that going to look like among the voters? And, the volume and just the scale of the announcements and things that have happened have made it really hard for even your most dedicated news consumer to figure out what's going on. So it's interesting to see what lands where. I mean, particularly right now, it seems like veterans benefits and veterans being mega mad about a lot of this stuff is a huge red flag for a lot of Republican lawmakers right now. But for the rest, it's hard to tell what are going to be those, 2 to 3 things that really animate the base and that, maybe you can forge into a soundbite out of one.
Yeah, but it's not going to do anything. Because here's the problem with the Democrats. They got a thing called mega donors. Mega donors who control everything. Who will be the next thing? It's designed that way. You could scream at the Democrats to change, but you're not their number one constituents. It's the people with the money.
The Democrats need a new message. Something that the idea of it is it's more about who is broke and less about who is woke. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, 2 self-described socialists, maybe that is the best foot forward.
I want to put this up here as well. Shout out to Cool Blue 71. Thank you for the generosity. Observation, not often mentioned. One reason why Democrats are pointless, useless, and worthless are their loyal party voters. I especially apply this to 2016 Hillary, 2020, and 2024 Biden primary voters. Absolutely, because we got to stop Trump.
Sanders and AOC seem to think so, and I haven't heard the party stopping them. They're about to hold the second in a series of rallies they call Fighting Oligarchy. The oligarchs are the new word for rich folk. It is a call to arms in their fight against Republicans. Here is their clarion call.
We are here together because an extreme concentration of power and corruption is taking over this country like never before.
We will not accept an oligarchic form of society where a handful of billionaires run the government. The 1% live completely and isolated lives from the rest of this country. For the very, very richest, they have fluff, they have fun flying off into outer space on their very own spaceships. And maybe they should stay there.
Wow. Riveting. That's going to make me say, hey, everybody from Highlands Media, you got to vote Democrat because Bernie told all the Republicans to stay in space. Hold on. Wait. Listen. For those who know what I'm going to reference, if you remember Red Alert 3, the greatest line ever. I will escape to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space. I'll post the video in the Discord chat, you party animals.
Maybe you should be careful about making jabs at Elon. I definitely see room for criticism in how he's handling things. I think he's hurting the administration. But be careful when your people are burning down his cars and vandalizing things. Maybe you don't want to feed into that. Maybe Bernie's line that he didn't say there is, and I know that these things that you're mad about, you blame my party for, because that's what we just learned in the election. That when it comes to who caters to the elites and who wants to protect the establishment and what that means, many people in this country who just voted for Donald Trump blame the Democrats. Now, they're holding these rallies in Nevada and Arizona. Trump won both of those states with over 50% with exactly that message. I know the system is doing you dirty. I know they put them friends first. I won't. So, is this the right way forward for the Democrats? And if not this, then what? A man whom I admire personally, certainly professionally, and politically. He did the most important thing in politics. He raised millions.
You see, it doesn't matter about canvassing. It doesn't matter about protesting. It doesn't matter about social media. Unless you could raise millions, they're not going to notice you. The Democrat Party is like an Only Fools page, right? They'll be like, oh, I think you're nice, but unless you give me money, I won't praise you. Unless you simp to the Democrats, which again, the Democrats are bought and owned. This guy here, he's more important. Not you, the voter. It's him. He's important. And the Republican Party acts the exact same way.
For the Democrats, sometimes Republicans, but for the Democrats, the founder of the law firm Morgan & Morgan, John Morgan, who is now a anxious Democrat. So John Morgan, I know that you're basically an independent now because you're worried about the party, but as you guys are looking for better out of your side and you see Bernie and AOC taking to these hot zones, going after the oligarchs, do you like what you're seeing here?
Now, again, Cool Blue 71, your super chat is on point. Pure gold, as it should be. It's a color gold. I'm going to say it's gold, not yellow. It's gold. This is a golden comment. Observation not often mentioned. One reason why the Democrats are pointless, useless, and worthless are their loyal party voters who follow the orders. I especially apply this to 2016 Hillary, 2020, 2024 Biden primary voters. Absolutely. And when confronted, they don't like the facts.
No, it's a mistake. I agree with Carville. By the way, I will tell you a compliment before we go. I told my daughter, Kate, that I was going to be on. She said, Daddy, I watch them every night. It's the only show where you hear both sides. And I got
No, it's Hard Lens Media, baby.
to hear both sides already on the time I've been sitting here. So congratulations. Here's why it's a mistake. Here's why it's a mistake. First of all, the Democratic Party was the Democratic Party. If you were liberal, it was like, oh my God, it's terrible. You're liberal. Then there became something more liberal than liberal, which was progressive. So you're almost, conservative if you're liberal. Now you're progressive. Then they went to, we are democratic socialists. They kind of edged over there. And then finally, they made the big leap. We're socialists. Here's the problem.
When did this happen? I'm tired of revisionist history. Like, look, I love alternate history. I love it. Like, what if Rome never fell? What if JFK never passed away? I love that kind of alternate history. But you know what I don't like? Is somehow what? The Democrats got taken over by a socialist communist organization? No, they have not. That did not happen. Where's the memo? I didn't get that memo. I didn't get that memo at all.
Problem with the Democratic Party. It's not the Democratic Party. It's a party of two parties, the socialists. And by the way, there's a lot to be said for socialism if it works. The reason socialism doesn't work is because to be a socialistic country like France, you have to rely on the United States.
France is socialist? Oh, tell that to the protesters. Protest against Macron. France is social. Hey, breaking news. Hold on. If we're going to do this, we're going to do this right, people. We're going to do this right. We're going to breaking news. Breaking news. France is socialist. I didn't get the memo.
If it works. The reason socialism doesn't work is because to be a socialistic country like France, you have to rely on the United States for the military. That's why they're melting down. You just can't have it all. You cannot have medical for everybody and nuclear weapons. On the other side of the Democratic Party, there are me, the Bill Clinton, Mario Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, Democrats. And by the way,
boy, there's a lot of circle jerking happening here, huh? Isn't there?
your brother got caught up and got screwed just like Al Franken did. He got canceled, but he's going.
Yo! Hey! There was like, what? A lot of women coming forward saying he was being inappropriate. Right? Not to mention the scandal with the old folk homes. And didn't you lose your cushy CNN job for, I don't know, Fredo helping out your bro? Which is a conflict of interest. I feel like I'm taking this is it. That's it. This is revisionist history. I'm going crazy. What happened? Do you see this? Maybe I'm going crazy here. It's all right. 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 I'll cry later.
We'll get uncanceled because when I come.
And then I'll scream later. Now I'll run down the street, run down to Dan Ryan, run down Lakeshore Drive saying, I've finally happened. It's gone crazy. Revisionist history.
Come back to Florida. I'm going to do a fundraiser for him. So you got two parties in one party. What we really need and what I'm trying to do in Florida is I'm starting a new party. There's a party in the middle for all of us that are caught in the middle. Remember the song Stuck in the Middle? Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, stuck in the middle.
Steelers wheel. Steelers wheel.
Steelers wheel. You're an old hippie. So listen.
Call him an old hippie. Oh, hey, listen to all the people, Democrat voters that are yelling at town hall. This is why your party isn't going anywhere. And the thing is, the only reason why you have people turning up is because they want to see AOC and Bernie. But the thing is, AOC and Bernie don't got that dog in them to fight.
That's the problem. MAGA has the other problem, but the MAGA's got the MAGA people, and then they got the rhinos. But the rhinos are okay because they're the oligarchs. They're saying, hey, give us the $5 trillion in taxes and let us have our jets for free. So you got four parties. You got MAGA, pissed off. You got the tax guys who just, all they care about is the party. And the reason nothing works in America, and it does work in other countries, is if you have more than one party, you have compromise. Somebody would have to make a deal with the Steelers wheel. Somebody have to make a deal. Steelers wheel could be the group that controls civility. There's no civility because of gerrymandering. Marjorie Taylor Greene or whatever her name is, she can just get up there and say whatever she wants. So can AOC. They can say whatever they want. That's the problem. It's a party with two parties. Look, the new DNC says this to me. They learned nothing from the last election. What they need to do, Chris, is they need to do nothing. Yes, they need to let the dumpster fire rage, let everybody suffer, fight back, push back, be against it. But at the end of the day, Carville is right. Let the dumpster burn, get a lawn chair, get some popcorn, watch it.
Yes, and I do want to watch it, but I also want to watch people scream at the Democrats. Why aren't you changing? Why aren't you fighting? Why don't you this? Listen, it's time to end the Democrat Party, okay? It's time to break away from both parties because we have to. And because I sat through this madness, I must push the button.
If I press this, it's the end of the world.
There you go. One more time.
If I press this, it's the end of the world.
One more time.
If I press this, it's the end of the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Democrats are incapable of organizing or being structurally sound because they're designed that way. The voters are beyond help at this point. If you're screaming at the Democrats to fight back, remember, ask yourselves, when they've had the majority, they've always had an excuse about why they couldn't implement power. They've always had a reason why they would never deliver. They always had a reason why they were doing it. Put this in par with an abuser, okay? Oh, I didn't mean to cheat on you. It was an accident. I didn't mean to steal your wallet. I just needed money. I didn't mean to crash your car. I just needed a ride. I didn't mean to spend all the money on gambling. I just thought I'd get lucky. That's the Democrat Party. Now, AOC and Bernie, they still got some of that juice in them if they're able to bring so many people to turn out to vote. But the thing is, remember, all those people who supported Bernie Sanders and trying to reform the Democrat Party, like the Justice Democrats, Brand New Congress, Our Revolution, DSA, remember, the Democrats organized to kick you out, to silence you. The Democrats have admitted that they are a private organization. The Democrats in 2024 did nothing to prevent Biden from running again, even though he said be a one-term president. The Democrats anointed Kamala Harris in a primary that was completely rigged out there, okay? Keep on screaming. To the Democrat Party loyalists, you're like that person yelling at the ocean, telling the tides to stop coming in and out. I love you, but you're not serious people.